I'm Andy Weiss, and I'm professor of history at San Diego State, where I've been teaching for just about 28 years. I'm going to be your instructor this term in U.S. history in the age of Roosevelt, History 535. I thought I'd take a few minutes to introduce both myself and my class. So I'm a historian of the modern United States, and I focus on the history of cities and suburbs, history of the environment, and also, in particular, landscapes. And I brought you to this landscape, which is the main quad of our campus, because it's a good place to look at the legacies of the era and the age of Roosevelt and its impacts on the United States then, but also on the United States now. This 25-year period between the end of World War I and the end of the Second World War were a critical moment in United States history and really in world history. In this period, the United States lived through two of the greatest crises in its history: the calamity of the Great Depression, followed by the Second World War. And this period laid down a landscape that was both physical in a world of new infrastructure, of irrigation systems and massive hydroelectric dams, public buildings, airports, and colleges, like the main campus here at San Diego State. The bench that I'm sitting on is embossed with the letters WPA, a federal agency created as part of the New Deal in the mid part of the 1930s. But the legacies and the landscape of the era of Roosevelt were not just physical, but also ideological and cultural, political, social, and institutional. In this period, Americans rethought the role that government should play in American life. They asked their government for support, and government responded with new programs that provided public relief, that regulated major industries from banking and securities to the housing market. The government also provided support for organized labor, support for working people in the form of fair labor standards, minimum wages, maximum hour laws, as well as old age pensions, disability insurance, unemployment insurance, and a host of other programs that intervened into American life in ways that government had never been involved before, because Americans had never asked their government to do those things. At the same time, the age of Roosevelt left a legacy in American foreign policy and the role of the nation in the world, placing the United States on a preeminence on a global stage in a way that it had never taken before. And that too was new, and that too is something that has lasted. These, of course, remain critical features of political debate in the United States even today. And so the legacy of the New Deal, of the Second World War, of the age of Roosevelt is, of course, one that remains in continuing political discussion and debate about the role of government, about the place of the United States in the world. In the age of Roosevelt as well, the United States moved increasingly in the direction of a mass society in which shared cultural experiences gained through mass media or the mass experiences of the Depression and war gave Americans a more common basis to form a more common national culture out of a patchwork of regions and countryside and small villages. But at the same time, many of the nation's traditional haunting social distinctions of race and racism in particular were not melted away by this period. In fact, some of the programs of the New Deal were built by legislators who were firmly entrenched in the racist system of the pre-war period and helped to extend those racial distinctions into the future. And so we'll focus on those questions and those issues as well. One of the other features of the age of Roosevelt that I think is of critical importance to me is the way that Americans sustained themselves and survived and persevered through this era of crisis and did so with hope. And that, I think, provides a lesson to be learned for the present, our own era of difficult times and crises that we've experienced in the past few years. And so I think the age of Roosevelt has a lot to teach us about not just American history, but about the forces and factors that have shaped the United States in the 20th and 21st century and continue to be relevant today. We're going to listen to some good music. We'll listen to the voices of Americans, ordinary Americans, as well as prominent Americans from the age of Roosevelt. We'll look at documentary photographs from some of the people who pioneered the field of documentary photography and created enduring images of the United States in that period. And we will have an opportunity to explore and interact with one another through discussion forums, which will give you a chance to interact with some of your classmates, and also through plenty of engagement with me through the grades that I'll provide to you and comments that I'll give you on the work that you submit. So I'm excited to get started this semester and to start off well. I hope you are too. I wish you the very best and good luck. I look forward to getting to know you a little bit better, and let's get started.